Now you have a history with the folk groups and stuff. I mean, in the '60s, you sort of cut your teeth in that world before moving into the rock and the pop.
Yeah,
parts.
I worked for the Chad Mitchell Trio for the Limelighters and for Judy Collins. I was musical director on her third album.
You even worked with Bobby Darin for a while.
Yes, I worked for Bobby Darin. I wouldn't call him a folk singer, but
right.
He was doing folk songs when I worked with him.
Well, it just shows how expansive your musical interest and abilities were.
Actually, he's the one responsible for getting me to shift back over to blending rock and folk together when I was working for Bobby. He said, get into rock and roll, and then you can do anything. And the Beatles came out right about that time. I was working as a songwriter in the Brill Building, and my job was to listen to the radio and write songs like the ones out there, and then the Beatles came out. So I started combining Beatles and folk, and that's what eventually became the Byrds.
Well, it became a very great signature sound, you and that Rickenbacker guitar. And speaking of guitars, you've got an acoustic instrument that you've invented. And what I'd like the audience to do is to listen to the guitar on the next song, and then we're going to talk about this instrument that Roger actually designed. I want to say invented, if for lack of a better, proper word.
I do have a patent pending on it.
Well, then you invented the sucker. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that, but listen to the sound of this guitar. From the CD limited edition, the song is St. James Infirmary. It's Roger McGuinn on the WOODSONGS Old-Time Radio Hour.
Went down to old Joe's barroom on the corner of the square. Drinks are being poured as usual. The same old crowd was there. On my left was old Joe McKennedy. His eyes were bloodshot red. His elbow on the bar, he turned to me, and these are the words he said. Way down to St. James Infirmary, I saw my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fair. Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me. When I die, bury me in my straight-leg shoe, bounce back coat and a Stetson hat. Put a $20 gold piece on the watch chain, so the boys will know I died standing pat. Well, now you heard my sad story. Have another shot of that booze. And if anyone should ask you, I got the St. James Infirmary blues. Went down to St. James Infirmary, I saw my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fair. Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.
Roger McGuinn, another song you'll find on his brand new CD, limited edition. Now, Roger, if you don't mind, let's talk about this guitar. It's technically a Martin guitar, and the audience is listening and they're going, well, that's a 12-string, right?
No, it's a 7-string. It's got some of the qualities of a 12-string. In fact, my favorite part of a 12-string is this pair here. It's a G-string pair, and I play a lot of leads up that part, like So you can see how important that.
Beautiful. So what we have here, if I can describe it to the listening audience, it's an acoustic guitar. It's a Martin, looks like a dreadnought, a regular dreadnought.
Right.
And it's a 6-string guitar, but you added the 7th string on the G. The high G is on the regular G.
So you have basically a 12-string pair on the G string, and you can do these leads like.
But the rest of the guitar, you have the fluidness that a 6-string gives you.
You can bend it, which you can't really do very well on a 12-string. And it's also got some things on the bottom like that don't work too well on the 12.
Now, you showed this to the folks at Martin, and they got very impressed.
Yeah, I had them build me one, and they made it for me, and they played it and said, wow, we like this. Let's build a limited edition. So they decided to do a limited edition of this guitar.
So Roger McGuinn has his own specially custom-designed limited edition of a Martin guitar, which is an honor. Not too many folks have something like that.